things like that, but I'm not going to lie and say the walls bled either because, you know, a lot of the time it's just you're catching shadow people out of the corner of your eye, or you're hearing things, or bugs appear and circle you. Or, you know, it was really strange at night when I would sleep here, I would feel something cuddling up against me at night. So it's not always dramatic, huge things that happen, you know, it's a lot of little things that lead to it. You know, dark entities don't really like to reveal themselves fully. I do feel when you make them angry or threaten to remove them, they do come full force. But for the most part, it's shadow people out of the corner of your eye just walking by, or a black orb circling around that we all see. And, you know, we actually try to disprove everything that we can, but it's a little hard when, you know, I remember the one night I was lighting sage in the house, just cleansing it because a lot of the people were having problems. I wasn't trying to remove anything because I know that sage does not do that. I was just cleansing the space. And I remember the light in one of the kids' bedrooms started flickering on and off. And then I started asking questions and started responding directly to my questions using the light. You know, I actually eventually, after documenting this case for 4 months, I eventually got Scott Gerhardt, Sean Austin, Melissa Leeper, Jeff Leeper involved in the case. And, you know, at first they thought I was crazy. They didn't believe me. And then they came here themselves, and they experienced it. And they're just like, wow, like, this isn't a joke. And they actually are the ones that helped me really, you know, get the bigger people in here and get them to experience this case. And, you know, we were still searching for that person that can help us. I actually have linked up with the Dominion Ministry recently as a demonologist on their group, and they just stepped foot into the Horsefly House for the first time, and they said they've never experienced anything like this. And overall, the group has 300 years of combined experience, which our common friend Jeremy's involved in.
Right, yeah. He told me that he was going to go check out a case, and then he's been telling, you know, Gary and I about it, and you know, Gary told me about it today, and I was kind of looking into it, and I was like, oh, my God, you know, and just all the stuff that has happened to you guys and anyone that ever helps you or tries to, what kind of things have been happening to them? I mean, like you said, that one lady, she tried to run her car off the road. I mean, out of nowhere. I mean, she wasn't even depressed on meds, nothing.
Yeah.
She just all of a sudden tried to run her car off the road.
Stable. She was probably the most stable one of all of us, and all of a sudden she went crazy. You know, a lot of the time it's just people going crazy. But other times it's physical attacks. I remember my friend Carla, I won't say her last name, but she was a big-time psychic medium in Lehigh Valley. And I remember she found out that I was living in a case. I didn't tell her any details about it, but I told her that I was living in a case that was pretty bad. And she told me she would put a white light of protection around the house and me and the family. And I said, okay, you know, if you think that will help, do it. She told me that the night she tried to do it, she got physically attacked so bad that she was black and blue, and her stepdaughter was screaming in her room for help. You know, that was the last time I ever talked to her. She won't talk to me again. I don't know if you know of my ex-boyfriend, Andy, that lives down in Louisiana. You know, we were seriously dating for a little bit, and, you know, he wanted to be involved in this case. I tried telling him not to, and that's just going to cause problems in his life. But he wanted to be involved anyway, and he didn't really think that things were going to happen to him so far away. Well, you know, the more we talked and the more he became invested in the case, the more the crazy stuff started happening in his house, black orbs, shadow people. Everything that I was experiencing that I didn't tell him was happening to him. You know, I dated someone outside the paranormal world for a little bit, and I remember they would have weird things happening in their house where flies would be landing on them all the time. It would be like every time they talked to me, something negative would happen to them to the point where they had to break up with me because of it.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah, it does. You know, my mom has experienced a lot of attacks. My twin sister has. And pretty much everyone. I mean, there's not been one person that hasn't been affected by the stuff in this case that has tried to help.
And so have clergymen and stuff been able to be called out, or is it just keep getting kind of diverted by the entities that are there? I mean, have you ever been able to have anybody come out?
We have had people come out. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, now we're talking the most experienced people in the field, and I'm not going to mention any of their names, but we're talking about people that have been doing this with Ed and Lorraine Warren, actually people even connected to Ed and Lorraine Warren. And, you know, we had a few of them come out, And they told us straight out that they've never seen anything like this and that they don't think they can help. And it's just crazy to hear these professionals that I've looked up to for so long come and say that, they don't think they can handle this. And I'm like, I lived here for 4 months. It's pretty insane. Unfortunately, we haven't found anyone just yet, but we're hoping the Dominion Ministry, they seem confident in their ability to be able to help us and close down these portals that are in the basement. This basement has been called a portal to hell by countless psychics and mediums. We're hoping for once that we've actually found the help that we need.
So would the family be able, like Phil and his family, would you guys be able to move out of the home, or you just don't want to leave it for someone else because you think it's going to, would it follow you, or would it stay there in the portal? Would that just remain for the next family that would move in?
Well, me and my wife and family, we lived in like 4 locations.
Okay.
Everywhere we go, the energy
it goes. Okay.
It's not like we moved into a haunted house. It's just like they follow.
Okay.
And there's more than one. And people ask me, they say, Phil, look, if you had your last words about this story, what would it be to anybody? My last words would be this: heaven and hell are real. Dark entities do exist here in the physical world, and you have to be careful because these dark entities, they do go after your weakest link, and they will make you think things that aren't there and see things that aren't there, and they could drive you to the point of insanity. And, again, there's been so many people here, I can't even count them all, just to have different perspectives and people's opinions on, what's going on here. It's just ongoing, and, it's a very complex case because, again, I can't describe time-lapse and a ghost. I don't have the answer to that. Do you?
No. No, I don't. And the alien, when you were describing the visitation that you had, or
Yes.
That right there is mind-blowing because when you were describing them, I was thinking alien right away before you even said the word, because you called them things, creatures that came into your window. And,
yes.
They freak me out. I Fire in the Sky, I've watched it so many times, and I know a lot of that is kind of Hollywood or whatever, but the things that happened to that man in that UFO, I can't even imagine. And so anything alien kind of freaks me out. So there's no telling what the hell they were doing to you. I don't even know. The connection is crazy, but the heaven and hell thing, when I was telling people about, I'm going to have a guest on that has been to heaven and hell, and they're like, what? And I'm like, it is hard to believe, but it is possible. I do believe it is possible. And, I was always told that there is a heaven and hell, and, raised in a Baptist type area and everything. My mom didn't really get into the religious part of it. We were more spiritual. We were more had a really strong faith, a belief system. And you said that faith was the thing that brought you out of hell. That right there is an attestament to people that having faith, I think, is a stronger base than being, say, and I'm not going to make anybody happy using this, but a person that is kind of what they call a Bible thumper, that, preaches the Bible and preaches the Bible. What do you really think about, since you've been to heaven, do you really think that the Bible is an accurate type book, or do you think that it's been rewritten so many other times that it's not?
That's a good question. And again, I could look anybody in the eye and tell them heaven is for real. I do not go to church. I don't go to church. There is a karmic view, a universal law. The universal law reflects on our aura, the energy that we put out, that we take back in. I do not and again, I do not disrespect anybody's religion or beliefs or Catholic, whatever you are, I do not disrespect. But
right.
If you ask me, because I have been to heaven, and if you ask me, is the Bible the way it is written, I'm going to question that, all of it, because of what I experienced. And that's the only way I could explain it in the most easiest, simple terms. I would question everything that's written. Because
right.
heaven and the way the Bible is written, they don't really go side by side. You know, I think that books are written sometimes so that it could be more understanding for us to comprehend. But there are so many different layers in heaven and hell. It's so complex that we are not meant as humans to understand it up until it's time to cross. Then we take that fulfillment with us. Now, people have also asked me, you know, how do you know if you're going to go to heaven or hell, or even be an earthbound spirit when you die? And this is the message that was given to me. When each soul is born, it's born with a full glass of water. That's how it's measured. Every negative thing that a person does here in the physical world, whether it's harm nature or humans or animals, whatever it is that's negative, that glass of water slowly empties. When it's time, whether you're 70, 80, 90 years old, whether it's your time to cross and that glass is empty, you pretty much can guess that you're going to be pulled into darkness. If it's in the middle, I'm going to say that you're going to be an earthbound spirit because it wasn't your time yet. And you still have to watch over people that you love. Now, I say that because back in the 90s, I lost an ex-girlfriend to cancer. And I was able to communicate with her, with another friend of mine. Now, I didn't know if she was buried because we lost touch. You know, it was puppy love. But she told me exactly where she was buried, in this tremendous cemetery. There was a wooden cross, and when we got to the cemetery, we couldn't find anything related to her. But the wind blew a certain way. And my instinct told me to follow the way the wind was blowing, walking through the cemetery. Lo and behold, we found the cross. And that cross had her name on it. And I got chills. And it showed me that you can connect with people that crossed over. Not everybody, but you can connect. And I asked her name was Annette, and I asked her, what is it like? And she says, Phil, I'm an earthbound spirit. I had not believed in God or the devil. I just float around, but I also watched over my daughter with my previous boyfriend. The way that we're able to communicate with those that have crossed over, she explained, has a lot to do with the alignment of the stars. Through a certain alignment, there's an energy that's created. When that energy is created, it goes back to us, and we use the Ouija board or mental telepathy or some kind of communication to talk to people, most of the times through dreams, that we're able to talk to them or see them. Some people talk about the way the full moon affects them. She explained how the stars are in alignment that are able to give us this energy to connect with the other side. And that showed me something, that we never truly die. It's just a word. It's scary to think about death. Do not die. Our energy, which cannot be created nor destroyed, goes somewhere. And it transmits into where we're going next. And I've questioned it, and I've proven it to myself through talking to loved ones, and from my own experience, we just keep going on. We never die. Death is only a new beginning.
Yep, that's exactly. A friend of mine named Alyssa actually has that tattooed on the inside of her arm. It said, death is only the beginning. And, you know, I thought because maybe she's a vampire that she thinks like that, but it's like it is true that you do continue to go on. You just, you leave this shell, and your energy has to go somewhere. Yes, they bury your body because that's your shell. That's your empty shell. Your energy goes somewhere else. I've always thought that. That, it's scary to think that we have to leave this body